Screw it. We'll do it live. Just go live. All right, I'm ready. Oh, I got my name up there and everything. I like that.
Right there on the little left there. It's Dan Hicken.
I got a little banner running underneath me. It's high tech.
That's perfect.
I swear to God, Graham, if you come over here in about 6 minutes and go, I'm going to go crazy, though. He's looking at it. It's good. We're up. Let's go. Rocket Frank.
Tell me when.
When?
All right. All right, let's go here. It's time now for All Things Gators, All Things Orange and Blue. Dan Hicken and Frank Frangie. What's up, Hick?
All Things Gators presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, as you see on that beautiful banner down there. Appreciate them. Appreciate you. Appreciate the Florida Gators. Appreciate Bowl Week. Hey, we got a bowl game. But there's a lot happening off the field that we probably need to get into today. And it's interesting. I'll ask you this question, and I'll start with this. I said this a couple weeks ago, and I was wrong. And I said it is imperative that Billy Napier jump into the portal and attack the portal with a gusto and have guys coming in immediately. And that's just not who he is, I guess, because that's not what he's done. He's doing it his way. I kind of feel like LSU is doing it that way. I think LSU has jumped in the portal and we'll take this guy. We'll take this guy. That's not the way Napier works or operates. We'll see how it shakes out here in a month or so, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't know, Dan, whether he's typically playing it slow because that's how he rolls, to your point, or if they've missed on guys. I don't know that. What I do know is it's perfect to make Gator Twitter blow up, okay? Yeah. Because social media loves Gator social media. There's a handful on there that loves to blow up every time every guy doesn't come. So I think what matters is it's important to remember Elijah Badger came last year in May.
Yeah.
The bottom line, and he was a really good player.
Yep.
They're going to get 4 or 5 good players in the portal. There's thousands of guys in there. Don't lose sight of that. There's thousands. Sometimes people just know the names they know, right? And then they see, LSU's got about 7 guys already in. And some of them are former Gators, so that gets everybody's attention. But I think, look, they're going to get 4 or 5 guys. Now, the bottom line is, which ones do they get? That's the danger of this whole recruiting thing is there's a handful of names you know. Those are the names that Hayes Fawcett, whoever puts out there. And then once you know the name, and hey, well, it's a receiver, and he's 6'4", and he's 195, and he runs
right.
So we got to have that guy. And then he winds up at Texas Tech. You go, well, then we're screwing up recruiting. Well, we're no good anymore. Well,
right.
That's what happens. This is one time you really do have to be patient. He has proven in the portal that he gets pretty good players. I don't know if they're great players. You start looking at Graham Mertz and Montrell and Osiris Torrance and Elijah Badger and Ricky Pearsall and Ray DK and Damian George. If you look back, the handful, Cam Jackson, Caleb Banks, I can run off 15 of them that Billy's gotten in the portal that have really helped the Gators win games and have really helped turn the program. So my answer to your question, I think, Dan, is let's trust the evidence tells us he's going to get a handful of good portal guys. That's what the evidence suggests. I would wait and give him a chance to do that. That's my take. How about you?
I'm okay with that. Listen, and also want to point out that they have had a lot of wins in retaining. Retaining is an important part of what they had to do. And I guess I'm assuming they went through that part first, but boy, when you get the announcement that your center is coming back and your right guard, who, Damian George took a lot of heat as a tackle, but he was pretty solid as a guard last year and will play in the NFL. And the fact that he's coming back. And you're waiting on Austin Barber at this point, but, and you got the defensive tackle coming back. And so a lot of Trey Wilson is another huge get to return where most people thought this kid ain't coming back. There's no chance. So I think that part of it also shouldn't be undersold either. Look, at this point with Napier, he's polarizing, right? Everybody likes him. Either want him as your coach or you don't want him as your coach. The ones who want him choose to build off the momentum. The Tulane Bowl game should be a fun day for Florida, and then you really go to work in terms of what you want to do and start building, because you do have, I think we both will admit, and I think most people will admit, you have a wonderful opportunity in the next 2 years with DJ Lagway.
No.
And how do you take advantage of that kid in the next 2 years to a team that should be, quite frankly, in the top 12 both years and contending for an SEC championship?
I totally agree. I'm going to go back to one more thing about the portal, and then I'm going to move forward to where we're headed. So, and I don't follow recruiting as closely as you do, but I can tell you, if you go on the social media channels, namely X, in the middle of October, all the angry people thought it was going to be the worst recruiting year of all time.
Right.
They were going to finish in the 50s. The Gator standard, I love it when people on Twitter talk about the Gator standard. Oh, the Gator standard. Okay, that cracks me up, like you wrote the edict. But the Gator standard is better. Instead of just being patient, well, if the people that were patient saw that, okay, that Scott Strickland backed him, he won a few games. He went from in the 50s to 10th or 11th or wherever they finished. So just be patient. Now, if the portal season ends and they don't have anybody, well, then that's a different conversation.
Right.
But Elijah Badger came in May, so I think be patient, wait. And the other thing, you made a great point. Keeping those guys was important. I think two things have jarred people now. The Pyburn story, because he was the forever Gator that's now going to play at LSU, and the fact that there's not a lot of new names yet. Those are the two things. And if you deal with the Pyburn's gone, it is what it is. We've talked about that ad nauseum. I'll say it again. I think he made a big mistake in terms of the next 20 years of his life. He would have been the forever Gator. He would have been Chris Doering or Tim Tebow, who their whole lives rooted for Gators and went to Gator games and tailgated with the Gators and couldn't wait to wait the orange and blue. And he'd be a forever Gator everywhere he went. And now he won't be. Now he'll be looked at as an LSU player, and Gator fans are mad at him. So I hate that for him. But it is what it is. But back to the big picture of the program, I like where they are. I will say this, Dan. The two, and I think it'll be interesting to watch on Friday in the bowl game. The two big stories that still stay out there, though, are coordinators. Austin Armstrong left.
Yeah.
The word you hear inside is that Ron Roberts might not be there either next year. That's what I'm hearing. We'll see if that's true or not, but that certainly is the scuttlebutt, is that both defensive coordinators, or the defensive coordinator and the associate head coach, might both be gone. And then the age-old question, is Billy going to bring in an offensive coordinator? So I think Shamar James is waiting to hear what's going to happen. He was really close to Austin Armstrong. So I think he's waiting to hear what happens with defense before he makes a decision. So right after the bowl's most important. Now I can't wait to watch it. I get to watch the Gators again. I get to watch Lagway again, maybe healthier Lagway than we've seen. But the big question after that, Dan, becomes what happens with the two coordinator spots, if anything, and how does that affect this whole portal moving forward the whole bit?
Yeah, a name I keep hearing, and I don't know as a coordinator, but one of the guys been bopping around a little bit is old Charlie Strong is around again. So that'd be interesting if he returned in some form or fashion. I still think Napier enjoys calling plays. I think he wants to be the O coordinator. I don't think that's going to change. But yeah, the defense coordinator will be interesting. And the buzz is Shamar James is going to leave after the bowl game, but we shall see. And listen, I don't want to lose anybody. But I love the linebackers that they have there. So I mean, I hope he stays. I don't understand why they go through the bad times and then they want to leave when things are starting to look promising. It's kind of odd to me, and I hate it for college football. I hate it for, and we talked about it, like you said last week in the Pyburn situation. I mean, it means something to be a Gator. It means something to be a Gator football player, especially to that kid living out a dream. And then just to take the short-term whatever. I don't know if it's guaranteed third down so I can rush the passer and get some more sacks. I don't know what it is. I mean, if you play at the SEC level, man, they're going to figure out if you can play in the NFL or not. I don't know. It's weird to me. Weird.
Everybody that's ever coached Little League, like you have, and I have, and anyone that's ever been around.
I was a very good Little League coach, by the way. Legendary in the Jacksonville streets, they say.
I've seen the trophies. I've seen the plaques. So I've seen it all. But anyone that's ever done it, Dan, knows that there's some families, whether it's the parents, the kid, the uncle, the whoever, no matter how much you're playing, wants to play more. And I think that was in play with the Pyburn thing. I think the Pyburn camp, whether it was Jack, his parents, his friends, his uncle, his neighbor, the Pyburn camp wanted more money, wanted more guarantees, wanted more playing time. And every Little League, I'm telling you, every Little League team ever formed had that guy on the team. and even if he was a good player. And so we move on. As
Frankie, I called it the Disgruntled Dads Club, and I've been a member many times when watching my boys play youth sports. So yes, the Disgruntled Dads Club, it's out there, and I was one of the founding fathers, quite honestly.
Charter member, were you? I get it. Let's move on to Friday. What are your expectations? I can't wait to watch the game. I mean, remember, if you're a diehard football fan of a team, which we are, in addition to media roles, we're fans of the Gators. This is the last time you get to do this until next September, you know?
I hope they just have fun. Listen, I don't know much about Tulane. I'll be honest. I know they're playing with a quarterback who's leaving after the game,
right.
Into the portal, and I know they lost their guy. So it's a tough situation for Tulane. So I'd like to see Lagway, as I said this on the radio show this week about Lagway, and I'll ask you this question. Like, if you and I were watching the Gators play football and Lagway goes into a game, there's literally 5 to 10 plays a game where I would go like this. Like, Lagway makes a play and I would look at you and go, ooh.
Right.
There's a lot of quarterbacks who don't have, might get one of those a year, one of those a week. Lagway does it over and over again. That's the specialness of the kid. And so anytime I get to watch him play, and for a school that he seems to be really happy with and entrenched, I'm thrilled. I'm excited. I have real genuine hope going into this offseason. I'm in a good place right now with Florida football.
I am too. And you said it. You described it perfectly, because number 2 is out there. And I also like watching number 13 and number 20.
Oh, sure.
And so, but here's my question about Lagway, and I want to get your thought on this. I love Lagway. Some of the unbelievable plays are unbelievable. The accuracy on the deep balls is unbelievable. The poise, the ability to get balls, someone's hanging on him. Here's my question, though. To win in this day and age in college football, it's almost like the NFL. At some point, your guys got to be play in and play out, hit the intermediate routes, hit the quick little out, hit the quick short, play fast, go, go, go. And you look up, and he's 24 of 31 for 317 yards and 3 touchdowns. We haven't seen that. Now, maybe that's because they're keeping a lid on it. Maybe that's just not the way Billy coaches. But at some point, it can't just be he's 9 out of 17 for 250 yards because he hit 3 big ones, but they never got into a rhythm of pass, play. Now, again, he's a freshman, and he only started playing at midseason.
Right.
And he hurt most of the year. There's a lot of reasons. But isn't that the next step? The next step in DJ Lagway's progression is not just the wow plays, but the play in and play out and play in and play out 5, 6 straight, 11 completions in a row. Don't we have to see that too?
Yes, but I think that I'd rather have it this way than the other way. You know what I mean? I'd rather have him be able to hit that already show this unbelievable presence and poise and this ability to hit these unbelievable plays down the field, and then we'll pick that up as we go. And I think he will. I'm very confident. But I know what you're saying, and I think that's a good point. Let's talk hoops real quick. You want to?
I will.
I know you're the hoops guy. You're 10-0. You're riding high. You got, at the time of this, we got Carolina coming up tonight, and the jump man, and Carolina's not bad. They've lost to good teams, but they've lost. Florida hasn't lost. If they win this game, I suspect they'll close out their out of conference undefeated, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing about Florida basketball. My thought: number one, they're really good. I mean, Arizona State's pretty good now. Arizona's 8-1. They're a tournament team. They're long. They shoot it, and I mean, Florida just gutted them.
Yeah.
Florida is physical. I mean, they're a street fight team, which they have not been in the first 2 years under Todd Golden. They're bulky. They're cut. Their bigs are physical bigs. Their guards are physical. Everyone's in. I mean, they're a hard-nosed team, Dan. Here's my question: and again, we're recording this or doing it live on Tuesday morning.
Yes, so we'll do it live.
We're live. You are looking live. We're doing this live. So the North Carolina game's tonight. So we'll know more about them. They may not win. I mean, I know North Carolina's down, but this is a true first blue blood Florida will have played. So we'll see. But my question is, win or lose against Carolina, here's my thing. This is a team that if they were in any other league, if they were going in any other league, I'd say, Dan, they're headed for 23-5, and they're going to be a 4 seed, okay? But because they're in this conference, they are in the AP poll. The AP poll, they are 7th in the nation. That's the highest Florida's been in years, probably 10 years. They're 7th in the nation. They're the 5th SEC team, Dan.
Wow.
They're 7th in the poll, and that's the 5th best SEC team. Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn are so good, and the teams. I mean, Georgia's good now. Ole Miss, Mississippi State is ranked. So my question becomes: could you get into the league at 12-0? Not just Florida. I say this about any of them, and look up, and you're fighting to be 9-9 in the conference. It's just that'll be the story.
Let's hope the committee remembers this.
Right.
Let's hope the committee remembers that the SEC went 14-2 against the ACC and the SEC-ACC challenge. And as we continue to, do well in these out-of-conference games, let's hope that, and again, by the way, I think Florida's too good to go 9-9. I know that SEC is loaded, but I think they can go toe-to-toe with any of them in there. So I think they'll win their share of those games. And so I think ultimately they'll be just fine. But yeah, maybe a better seed than normal because of the conference being so good. It seems to be by far the best conference in America.
And no, by a wide margin. The question now is, I posed this on my radio show yesterday. Forget about best conference in America. That's not even worth discussing now. Where is it against the great conferences we've seen? The Big East of the 80s. Remember the Big East of the 80s?
Yeah.
Villanova, St. John's, UConn, Providence, all of them, Seton Hall, they were loaded. How does it compare with those great conferences of years gone by? The Big Ten had some really good ones too, and Michigan State was so good. And so I think, how does it compare there? One other thing about Gator Hoops.
Yes.
This guy, Walter Clayton.
Yeah.
He's a great player. I mean,
he is.
I don't know how many. I'm trying to think, Dan, and you're a historian too. We're both old. How many great players has Florida had? Great at the college level. I'm not worried about now. I mean, there's a bunch of them on the championship teams. I mean,
right.
You could make the argument there are 4 or 5, 3 or 4 on those teams.
Yeah.
But those teams, Vernon Maxwell, whether he's in the record books or not, was a great player. Okay, great player. But I'm trying to think how many, and they've had guys that turned out to be great pro. Bradley Beal was a great pro, right?
Yeah, 1 year though. Like if you could go, haven't we only had like 2 or 3 SEC player of the years in basketball? And I believe Chandler Parsons was one of them, right? But it haven't been many SEC players of the year along those lines. So when you're looking at great college basketball players, yeah, Walter and him coming back, obviously huge. Their guard play is as good as anybody's in the country. And then they back that up with some quality, big size and athleticism, man. It's a team to definitely get excited about. Got to give the coach credit for what he's put together down there.
Yeah, and I love the fact that how they play. I've always wanted my team to be one of those teams that has no conscience. Get across half court and let it fly. And I thought if Walter Clayton, as far as his choices, he's Steph Curry, man. If he's on the court, he's in range.
Yeah.
Okay? If he's across half court, he's in good range, right? And if he's anywhere near the 3-point line, it's a layup. You know, so I mean, I'm telling you, and Martin has made him tougher, and Will Richards, I'll give him credit. He got his body in shape in the offseason. Denzel Aberdeen now is he's a good guy off the bench. And Frankie, so they're going to it'll be a fun watch we'll watch tonight against North Carolina. It'll be a fun watch as it goes along. And then we'll watch the Gasparilla Bowl and watch DJ Lagway one more time.
It's a good Gator week, my man. Good Gator week.
A good Gator week. That's all things Gators. I'm Frank Frangie. He's Dan Hicken.
Yeah, thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. And like I said, we'll do it live, Frank. We'll do it live. Hey, we'll talk to you next week, and have a great holiday.
All right. See you, Hick.
All right. Hey, turn this thing off now. Turn it off.